Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, welcome, welcome to the grand opening of JA Finance Park, Prince George's County. Woo! My name is Patty Brooks Nobles, and I have the pleasure of chairing the board of directors for JA of Greater Washington. My JA story started not far from here. It started with something called a trouble light. Trouble lights were assembled with a plunger, a floodlight, a wooden dial, and an electric cord that plugged into the car lighter. If you got a flat tire on the side of the road in the night and you needed a light, that trouble light could save the day. In fact, it could light the night. For a short time in the late 70s, I worked as vice president of human resources for a company called Unified Student Achievers, USA for short. I was into acronyms even back in those days. Unified Student Achievers produced those trouble lights. We were led by 3 volunteer role models from American Security Bank, an early predecessor of Bank of America. They taught us how to run a company for a full school year through something called the JA Company Program. At the end of the school year, our volunteer leaders took a group of high school students from our company to a lunch to talk about our experiences and reflect on some of the things that we had learned about business. We ate in a fabulous dining room on the 10th floor of a building across the street from our White House, across the street from the Department of Treasury, the Washington Monument, and some of the other buildings that make Washington one of the most beautiful and powerful cities in the world. I was hooked on business as a result of my JA experience. Today, I work in that very same building. I've been there working with Bank of America since 1984. I have had quite a few business meetings in that dining room that I sat in more than 3 decades ago with my JA company colleagues and my advisors. That is why I am so passionate about junior achievement and the special things that we do for young people in this community. Today is a historic day for junior achievement. The innovative financial literacy ecosystem, this innovative financial ecosystem is our region's second facility and Maryland's first JA Finance Park. But I have to say that this is more than a building. This is junior achievement of Greater Washington's, this is more than a building. JA Finance Park, Prince George's County, is actually a symbol of what is possible when business, nonprofits, and public education come together to say that it is long past time to make the preparedness of our youth a priority. This is also JA Greater Washington's 50th birthday year. Yes, since 1965, JA has impacted almost 800,000 young people in this region. I am one of those young people. And I am happy to say that not only did JA impact me, but JA impacted our first speaker for this morning. Let me tell you about her. Congressman Edwards is the first African American woman to represent Maryland in Congress. She represents Maryland's 4th Congressional District, comprising Prince George's and Anne Arundel counties. Since taking office in 2008, Congressman Edwards has secured a number of legislative accomplishments to improve the lives of working families in her congressional district and around the country. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very pleased to present our U.S. Congresswoman, Donna F. Edwards.
Thank you very much, Patty. And I, too, am a JA alum. And I am so excited to be here, Patty and Ed, and to all of the elected officials and all of our community and our business community who are here. Thank you for your support of this finance center. I remember, Ed, when you all took me to the center over in Virginia, and I said then, I want one of those in Prince George's County. And doggone, you did it. And so it is really wonderful to be here. And I just want to share with you my junior achievement experience, because it really did, and I don't even know if I knew that then. But as a young preteen, it really did something for me that strengthened my, just my confidence and commitment and hard work. And that's what junior achievement does. And I learned when we were, 4 decades ago, Patty, 4 decades ago. And when we developed our scented candles, now that was before all of the aromatherapy stuff today, and I say that we were the beginning of aromatherapy. But we had our scented candles, and we customized them, and we sold them, and then we decided to sell other stuff. And we had great partners in the business community who showed us how to do that, showed us how to market our product, showed us how to make sure that we were keeping our books straight, all of the kinds of things that you need as an entrepreneur in business development. And I think it is that foundation that made me a nonprofit entrepreneur. I think it's that foundation that gave me the commitment in my representation in Congress to focus on small businesses and the needs of small businesses and entrepreneurs to grow and develop the economy. And so I cannot be more excited about this finance park here, both for what it will do for our young people, but how it will gird them in the work that they do, no matter what it is that they do, and give them the confidence that they need to achieve. And so the combination of our school system, our business community, our community leaders, our elected officials, this is what junior achievement is all about. And I am so excited, and maybe they'll let me take a day off in Congress so that I can spend a day in the finance park going around to all the businesses and doing what the kids are going to get to do every single day. Congratulations, junior achievement.
Well, we're going to take you up on that offer, Congresswoman. And again, we're so proud to have you as one of our alumni. We really are. I've heard Patty's story a number of times. I hadn't heard yours, so you could have been the next Yankee Candle. Think about that, actually. Again, my name's Ed Grenier, and I'm the president and CEO of Junior Achievement here in Greater Washington. And to be here for our grand opening of Maryland's first major financial literacy center during our 50th year anniversary, I've never been prouder than today for this organization. I'd like to just take a moment. I've seen a lot of our board members here, but just to say thank you to our board. There's a number of you here, and without your support and your help and a lot of the behind-the-scenes kind of things that nobody will ever see, thank you on behalf of all of us. A couple specific people. Patty, obviously, is our chair. She's our leader. She's an energizer in the boardroom. Rich LaFleur is here. He was our board chair last year. John Stalford, our chair next year. Richard Woods with Capital One. David Harrington with the Prince George's Chamber has been a great partner of ours. He's helped get some businesses around the project. Steve Proctor, I see him standing in the back. Thank you, Steve. Jeff Ruby, the team at BB&T has been wonderful. And Andy Hess here of Hess Construction has helped, we don't know how much drywall to put in the building, so he's helped us think that through many times. So today is a big day for our story to inspire a generation of Greater Washington youth to be financially capable and tenacious. equipped with the tools to manage risk, to think outside the box, and to welcome opportunity. But today is more than just that building over there. You know, as Patty just said, it's about a community coming together to say that when it comes to preparing our youth for life, the status quo is no longer good enough. Today is about ensuring that our youth have skills to lay their own path to their own American dream, literally brick by brick. Today is about this generation, and you'll hear from one of our participants a little bit later in the program, a Prince George's County JA generation that will be better prepared for the future than any generation before them. I have to tell you, when I look around the room, over the last several years, I've gotten to know many of you, and it's really fun to see you all here, smiling. That's a good thing. And there's one thing that's become abundantly clear to me as I've made my way around the county. It's that this county is built on relationships, deep, sincere, long-term, lasting relationships. Everyone I meet is incredibly dedicated to building the future of this county for businesses and families, and now for youth alike. I haven't seen him here, but I know he's here somewhere. I'll never forget the first time I sat down with people like Howard Stone. A number of you, I'm sure, know Howard. Mr. Prince George's County himself. His energy literally filled the Old Town Inn up in Upper Marlboro. And those of you who know him, we literally stopped at every table on the way out to talk about Finance Park. So, and a number of those people have gotten engaged. So thank you, Howard. And to this day, I still talk about a breakfast that we hosted last year for our Finance Park partners, and the off-the-cuff speeches by Councilwoman Andrea Harrison and Prince George's County President Charlene Dukes. I seriously wish I could take those two to every meeting that I go on, because that passion was just amazing. And the support of the entire county council has just been incredible, under the leadership of County Council Chair Mel Franklin, who I know is here as well. I'm going to skip the next paragraph because I'm thanking Rushern Baker for his support. He's on his way. He'll be presenting a bit later. But in his absence, I just should say that there's few people that have really dove in and put his arms around this project than Rushern. He's been there from day one. Every time I'd bump into him, he'd light up and he'd say, how's Finance Park coming? And then he'd offer to help. We all remember, and I think this is one of the reasons we're here, we all remember, just like it was yesterday, after an economic crisis back in 2008 that rocked the nation, rocked our families to the core, and it became clear that junior achievement had an important role to fill. It was a call to action for us, a call to lead, and a call to make our kids' financial futures a priority. And from the beginning, we had one very clear partner that responded to this call with us. In Greater Washington, I can say that there's no more passionate an advocate for junior achievement than Capital One, and I can tell you that there's a number of people in this room that have been there from the very, very beginning. Day one, Richard Woods has been there, president of their foundation, Carolyn Berkowitz. Our day-to-day liaison, Leanne Posco, has been there. And this company is fully invested in our shared commitment in the boundless potential of young people here in Greater Washington, specifically Prince George's. And some stats that I think are going to surprise you, but this commitment is really illustrated by the more than 2,100 Capital One volunteers that have gone into the Finance Park facility, have volunteered energetically since we started this journey in 2010 with our Fairfax facility. And they have put up the funding that we've needed to make this a reality. $3.8 million they invested in this facility. So obviously, I'm very pleased to introduce you to our partner in inspiring a JA generation of young people, Greater Washington Market President, our good friend, Carrie Palmer.
Well, thanks, Ed. You took most of my talking points, so I appreciate it. No, that's great. So thanks to Ed, and by the way, thank you to all of Junior Achievement of Greater Washington for being such a great longstanding partner. I think it's a mutual admiration that we have with your organization as well. I also want to thank all of the distinguished guests who ventured out here to enjoy this fine autumn day. I think it's actually starting to warm up in here, so that's a nice thing. As Greater Washington Region's hometown bank, we are really committed at Capital One to investing in the region in order to drive economic opportunity and to help us, our entire community, grow and thrive. Now, I think a lot of people do a lot of research, and we at Capital One are no different. And so when we went out to the community and talked to people right here in the market, what we found was that over 70% of the adults in our community felt that kids today don't have the tools that they need in order to manage their finances as they get older. And so for us at Capital One, our belief is that financial literacy is actually a key fourth component of any good education. You have reading, you have writing, you have arithmetic, but actually wrapping it all together with learning how to manage your money is a critical component for success. And so at Capital One, we've always spent a lot of time and energy thinking about financial literacy. We recently launched our Future Edge initiative, and financial literacy is a core component of that. So over the next 5 years, we'll be investing over $150 million to help the generation today prepare for the jobs of tomorrow. And so there's a lot of financial literacy and combining that with technical skills to make sure that people have the jobs and tools they need to be successful. I think, as Ed mentioned, we've given a lot of money to this, project. I think we have $2.5 million invested here, plus things like the tablets that the students use to go through the day. So I think any of you know that when I, went through my own personal finance course, we learned check registers and pages. That's not how it works today, right? So what we don't want to do is like leave our kids with the tools of the 1980s to manage their finances in 2015 and beyond. So we're really excited about that combining of financial literacy and technology. And finally, I think I'll note you talked about our volunteerism, and I will tell you that when we open up a new volunteer event here for Finance Park, it is one of those things that, like, within our associate base, sells out immediately. And so our associates just can't wait to come and be a part of the day. It's an area where we have a lot of fun, but we can also see the impact in the community each day as the kids go through the process and actually their eyes open and they get a chance to really learn some hands-on and real-life skills. So we are thrilled and excited for the Junior Achievement of Greater Washington Finance Park, Prince George's County, and can't wait to be a part of taking the kids through this. So thank you all, and congratulations.
Thank you, Carrie. I should add, and I wasn't going to do this because we're here to talk about Prince George's County, but since we started the Finance Park movement here in Greater Washington, we have a third facility that will be opening in Montgomery County in 2017, and Capital One has committed to helping us with that. They've invested $11.5 million in junior achievement. So, ladies and gentlemen, this Finance Park will give Prince George's County youth the knowledge and skills to be financially capable. But I think we all know this intuitively, but equally important, it will show our youth the connection between budgeting and the path to creating their own destiny, the ability to really be what they want to be. And I can't tell you, I've spent a lot of time, obviously, in our other facility and here since we opened a couple weeks ago. I can't tell you how many light bulbs I've seen go. Some light bulb moments. It's really amazing. Being a fly on the wall is sometimes scary with eighth graders, but it's amazing, the light bulb moments. And they get it. They realize they can afford a house or buy a car or even go on a vacation simply by making the right choices at the right time. So it's more than a building. Again, like I said, it's a ladder from the classroom to the real world to the future. And we're inspiring kids to ask questions, that you want to hear. Maybe I should be taking specific electives in high school, or maybe I do need to think more seriously about college. I should tell you, I wanted to share a quick story with you. A couple weeks ago, Chamber CEO David Harrington stopped by to see the facility. He's been very helpful since the beginning. And we walked slowly through the Washington Redskins College and Career Center, stopped for a moment, took in the content. For those of you that have seen it, it's presented in a really cool way. The kids love it already. Bruce Allen's here. He's happy because we won on Sunday, and I see the smiles still on his face. And they've been terrific partners from day one as well. And then we made our way over to the housing storefront. We sat down, the big kind of nice chairs, and he looked at me, and all he said was, he just said, hope. And he goes, Ed, that's what this is about for a lot of the students in this county. And he goes, hope. And I looked at him, and for the next 90 minutes, literally, we discussed how these Finance Park tools can help these youth literally see their way to writing their own story. There's a lot of aha moments in that building that we're looking forward to creating for the youth in the county. Owning their own destiny. It was a powerful moment for me. I am going to pause here on our script and welcome our county executive, Ruth Shern Baker. Thank you for being here. I made some really nice comments about you, by the way. Well, I said that every time I see you, smile and light up and ask about the facility, and it's wonderful. But now look back at the building again. Thanks to our good friends, a number of you met Jordan Goldstein and the team from Gensler, but they are geniuses when they take what we wanted to envision and turn it into an architectural drawing that makes the facility come to life. You'll all understand it right when you go in. Jordan Goldstein, Vaki Mawima, and Erica Farhat worked on this from day one. They helped us with Fairfax, and we took everything we knew in Fairfax and then put it up a level and put it into this building. They're wonderful people. And this building really is a symbol of hope. I never understood that you can take architectural drawings and make that feeling happen in a building made of bricks. So it's an innovative ecosystem in there, and these people help bring it to life. And again, like I said, you'll understand it when you get in there. Thank you, Gensler. I'm also pleased that our school system CEO, David Maxwell, and the Kevin, what am I saying? Yes, Kevin, sorry. I know a David Maxwell, I think. And the tremendously, it brought attention to him. Tremendously supportive Board of Education. I see a lot of members out in the audience. From day one, I can't tell you when this was approved, we actually got told to be quiet out in the hallway because it was just such a magical moment for everyone. Remember that, Carolyn? It was great. So they've been wonderful. And I'm just honored that they've entrusted Junior Achievement to be part of their team to bring this kind of work to the county. We've worked closely with Dr. Carol Libby, Miley Libby, and Academic Officer Latifah Durant. Also someone that I would love to take on all of our meetings. She's wonderful at how she describes what we do here. And so we're thrilled also to have on staff, or not on our staff, but on site day-to-day, Teresa Jackson, who's working in the facility for the Prince George's County system, which is wonderful for us. And so this year we'll be putting all 9,000 eighth graders through this program in this facility. So, without any further ado, please join me in welcoming my friend and our JA Finance Park, Dr. Kevin Maxwell.
Saying back there, in this job you can get called a lot of things. David's okay. I'm all right with that. So I want to. Good morning, everyone. They hate it when I go off script. So I want to acknowledge some of my board members. All this work takes partners, and you've heard about that since the opening of the program this morning. But our Vice Chair of the Board of Education, Carolyn Boston, is here this morning, along with Patricia Eubanks, Sabrina Epps, and Sonia Williams, all members of our team. And you just had a few of our folks who've worked very closely with the opening of the Finance Park here mentioned. But most of my executive team is here this morning, and a lot of our senior staff folks are here as well, and they could all wave if they if they want to or not, but because for us, it's all about working together and collaborating and making things happen with our great county executive, our county council, our business partners, and others. That's how we are going to deliver on the promise of the Prince George's County Public School System. We delivered a strategic plan last year. It has a lot of different pieces, a lot of parts to it. But if we're going to get better as a community, we have to get better as a school system. And working collaboratively together and supporting one another is the way that we're going to get there. And this park, we knew this was coming. I was proud to be here the first year I returned to Prince George's County to break ground here and to talk with folks. Our executive team had one of our cabinet meetings in the building in Fairfax. We are proud to be the first district in the state of Maryland, and glad that some of the other districts are going to follow our lead. Because it's also about leadership. So, but I digress. So we're going to have 9,000 children a year come through this park. 9,000 children are going to come through this park. And so are a lot of adults. I just want to, say that as well, because, we've heard from a lot of people this morning who, they want to come. You heard our wonderful Congresswoman say she wants to come back and spend time with kids. You're going to hear that over and over again. And we're going to have a lot of adults coming through here and seeing the kind of work that our school system and our business partners and Junior Achievement and others are doing together. I can go through this is about goals. This is about standards in education, helping our students learn about colleges and careers, identifying their abilities, their interests, their work preferences, and their values. They're going to use high tech, the tablets that they have, hands-on experiences to test their financial literacy.
Our friends and sometimes even our families. We know all too well that it's easier to change a fingerprint than it is to change a credit score. Few realize that the top reason why applicants are denied security clearances for federal jobs isn't because of youthful indiscretions, poor academic transcripts, or flawed character. It's because of bad credit. The need for financial literacy programs is as critical as ever. That's why this Finance Park is so important, because it will instill the values and principles of prudent financial decisions to our young citizens at an early age, and help prepare a new generation of productive citizens and successful entrepreneurs. I look forward to following the great work success of this Finance Park here at Prince George's County. I wish you all the very best as you begin this incredibly important endeavor. And I'd just like to say how happy I am when I heard Bruce Allen was here, because not only do the Washington Redskins contribute philanthropically, but they also, gosh darn it, thank God, won on Sunday. And let me salute the other private sector folks that are here. I can promise you one thing over the next few years that the state of Maryland is going to deliver to you. We're going to deliver to you a respect for the private sector, because we all love public investment. We're all elected officials with the state budget and the county budget. But let's be honest, the only engine that has the scale that's able to produce the jobs and the wage growth that our citizens need is the private sector. And the private sector, it's a genius of a system if we can just in government figure out how to be constructive junior partners and help the private sector rather than constantly stand in the way and create impediments. So I'm delighted that all of you are here from the private sector today. I salute each and every one of your organizations to the extent you participate with Junior Achievement and this wonderful facility. Thank you very much.
Peter, if you could just raise your hand real quick. By the power vested in me as CEO of Junior Achievement, you are hereby an alumni. All right. We talked a lot about JA Finance Park graduates. A JA generation is what we're trying to to create here. And now I want you to help me welcome to the podium one of those graduates, a student I know is going to go somewhere. From the very first school to take part in the JA Finance Park experience, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Benjamin Tasker Middle School's very own Colin Bast.
How are y'all doing? Good morning. I'm Colin Bast. I'm from Benjamin Tasker Middle School. And I'd like to say my experience at the Junior Achievement Finance Parks was not only informative, but it was also intriguing, fun, and realistic. I was exposed to many things that I'll need to know in order to live a successful life. I learned things like budgeting, banking, online banking, the various fields of careers, prioritizing, and a lot of other useful information. It gave me a new level of respect for what adults like my parents have to go through. And I really mean what you guys have to go through. That's ouch. As a matter of fact, as soon as I got home, I thanked both of my parents for doing all the things for me and the rest of my family. I've sometimes wondered when school would teach me things like taxes, banking, Social Security, and basically things like that. My dad said I had to wait until college to take certain courses that deals with those financial things. The program, Junior Achievement Finance Program, literally gave me exactly what I wanted. It also gives you the benefit of understanding what it is you need to do in order to reach the goals you've set for yourself. What I like best about this program is that I wasn't only taught about these things at the park. I also had this program brought into my school. In the classroom, I learned about income, the importance between wants and needs, why it's important to go to college, taxes, and pay yourself first, stocks. I was even exposed to some new careers that I'm interested in. At the parks, I made a gross annual income of $65,000. Now that's pretty good. My friend's income, not so much. He had a job as a produce manager and received about $30,000 a year. And that was before deductions. At one point, he ended up asking to borrow some money from me. And as funny as it is, we both did figure out that prioritizing is key. He said that one mistake he made was that he bought a truck before he bought somewhere to put it. He ended up living in an apartment with no furniture, barely any clothes, and eating fast food. My point is, he didn't have the best things, but he did figure out how to make better decisions. I was living in a nice house with my 5-year-old son. We both had decent clothes, good food, a large amount of groceries. I had the same truck as my friend, and I had some furniture. I say some because there are no chairs in my house. Didn't really have a bed to sleep on. Decent. After we compared our profiles, we saw he didn't have a degree in anything. I had a bachelor's. Coincidence? I think not. I remembered how people who went to college managed to get almost double the amount of money as those who didn't. And yes, I did learn that from the JAFP student workbook. And honestly, I love that book. I've looked at it even after the program's ended. I've found it really informative. I've learned so much about the life adults live, and eventually the life I will live. And this program didn't just teach me about my future. It's helped me prepare for it. And I'd just like to thank the JAFP and its partners for making it possible for me and my classmates.
I don't think any of us could have put it any better. Thank you again. Our next speaker is no stranger to Maryland and surely no stranger to just how challenging a budget can be. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome a former member of the Maryland House of Delegates and Maryland Senate, from the Department of Budget and Management, Secretary David Brinkley.
So is it warmed up yet? I'm still just shaking, shivering away. I think a lot of people are impressed when they get into Annapolis and they see those big chambers and the House and the Senate. And I always tell them it's so the egos can get in and the hot air can get out. We need some of the hot air in now. Look, it certainly was a pleasure to serve with the comptroller and with the executive in the House of Delegates. The three of us served in that body together. I went on to the state Senate. I became minority leader, and then when the governor was elected, obviously he asked me to be the budget secretary. And what an honor it is to come to him, sometimes with good news, sometimes with not so good news. But what I've been impressed by in listening to what I've heard so far is I get the sense that a lot of the children or the students that go through this are going to learn, because sometimes in society we sense that people tend to want to worship money and worship those assets. And I think that when they get to the point that they can realize that it's nothing more than a tool. Currency is something you can exchange for one thing or another, and it becomes the common ground. And not only are they able then to take care of their families, themselves, but also the community. And we see that with what Capital One has done. So I really appreciate all the corporate sponsors, individual sponsors that are doing this. This is absolutely phenomenal. It's a pleasure to be here this morning to show support for the opening of the Financial Literacy Center. And on behalf of Governor Hogan, congratulations to bringing fruition to this wonderful facility for Prince George's County students. I'm going to depart from my remarks a little bit here just to say the governor also thanks each and every one of you for your thoughts and your prayers as he and his family have gone through his cancer treatments. He might not like this part of it, but I'm going to go ahead and say it anyway. He was feeling a little too good there. And as a cancer survivor myself, I told him, I said, well, then maybe the medicine's not having the desired effect yet. You got to get really low. And it finally hit. And, I think he also, though, as he was in the hospital going through his treatments, wasn't able to sleep because of some of the medications they had him on, but he took great heart and courage by being able to get up and walk around the hospital. And there's nothing like going into a pediatric cancer ward to really get you grounded in what it's all about. And you've had many conversations with him, and just the way that he's changed his perspective, I think, on the world, and certainly what our mission can be as we take care of our communities. We have some of the best opportunities in the world, and sometimes when some of us hear our communities get upset or want to make some changes to it, at the same time you have to turn around and look at where you've been, where we are, and appreciate all the things that we have. And I tell you what you're putting into this community is so incredible. I'm excited too that Montgomery County is going to follow. We'd love to see Prince George's be the trailblazer here. Rush, I'm proud of what's going on. It is so critical for our youth to envision a future for themselves in a very competitive world, and by understanding basic financial principles. Young people have a real opportunity to control their destiny, not short-term rewards, but real long-term changes to the life they choose to lead. The students here today are making an investment in their future, and thanks to their own sense of personal responsibility. A special thanks to Junior Achievement in the Prince George's County School System for providing this facility and the tools for success. Personal financial management skills are fundamental to maintaining independence. There's no greater sense of freedom than achieving financial independence, and meeting financial goals is transformative. At the Department of Budget and Management, we're imposing fiscal discipline on the operations of the state government. We are making progress and fully intend to fulfill Governor Hogan's mission of getting the state of Maryland on its own sound financial footing. Fiscal responsibility is key to our state's success, and it's key to the success of our students. I'm proud to be here today to help launch this important project My only additional commentary is maybe it's a little too small. We need another room so that all elected officials have to go through and participate in some of that. It truly is a great pleasure to be here on behalf of the governor. And thank you for what you're doing. And we're just excited about what we have in front of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary Brinkley, and please send the governor our best. Now, it's only appropriate that our last speaker be a man who has worked tirelessly to pursue positive change here in the county. There is not a project that he's not involved in, not a cause in the county he doesn't care about. Please help me welcome Prince George's County Executive Rushern Baker.
It is a great day, and I certainly want to thank Junior Achievement, Ed, and the board for coming out here. There are a number of us who had the chance to go over to Fairfax County and look at that park and walk through it. And I couldn't help but thinking, like everyone else, we want this here. But there are a couple of people, if I can, I'd like to thank in addition to. Can we give Junior Achievement a round of applause, please? Can we give Capital One and the sponsors a round of applause, please? Can we give Dr. Maxwell and the board a round of applause, please? Really a round of applause for picking up this mantle. You know, I had the pleasure, as has been said before, of serving in the House of Delegates with the Secretary, David Brinkley, and who is the chair of my Committee on Transportation, Peter Francho. And it was a great learning experience for me because, I was not really good at math. And my lovely wife would not let me have the checkbook. So, learning the state budget and doing that was a great learning experience, and I want to thank them for helping me out. I also want to thank the comptroller for being the real pusher around this. I mean, he has been on this issue from the very beginning of his career, and he carried it over as comptroller at a time when a lot of us, thought, okay, well, yeah, we need people to learn about finances, but that's not really the critical thing. Reading, math, critical thinking. We weren't making the connection with financial literacy and those other things we want our kids to learn. He was doing that, and he was leading that effort. So let's give him another round of applause. In my way of thank yous, I've got to thank, and I don't know if she's here, but hopefully she'll hear about this, Tammy Darvish. Yes. Tammy Darvish. Because when the ribbon cutting was going last year, it was not on my calendar, and Tammy Darvish called me up saying, you need to get here. This is so important. And she was right, and I was glad because she was pushing like Peter to have this throughout. And so I want to thank her. The other person who is not here, who I wish could be here, Andrea, and that is Bruce. When they were talking about you and the Redskins, and certainly we're happy for the win. Give them a round of applause. My relatives were there. We were happy. But I couldn't help but think about Wayne Keith Curry. Yes. Wayne Curry. And you might say, well, why do you bring up Wayne? When we were building that stadium and building the sports and learning complex, part of the vision that he had, much like Peter, a lot of us didn't get it. We thought it was Wayne being the conservative Wayne that he was. But pushing our kids and wanting them in this very neighborhood. We're standing in one of our Transforming Neighborhoods Initiative area. But in this very neighborhood, he wanted them to learn about financial literacy. And he wanted to make that part of the sports and learning complex. And for him to see this, he would go crazy. I can't help but thinking that, this is a day where he would be really proud of his hometown leading the way in this state. And so if we can, let's give him a round of applause for all the work. Now, I will close with two things. Two things I was thinking about as I was sitting there. One is there's this book I read, which was phenomenal. John Meacham's The Art of Power, and it's on Thomas Jefferson. And I'm, a big fan of history. And it's, it talked about his ability to actually run this government and think. But at the end of his life, here's one of the smartest people that was ever president. He was literally broke. He left his family in debt. All of his book collection, all of his wine collection had to be sold off. Thomas Jefferson. And then the other thing, and those of you who know me know that it is rarely that I go anywhere and not talk about my wife. Because literally everything I learned from her. And as I said, she would not, as when we got married, let me hold the checkbook. She figured out I did not go to junior achievement. I certainly needed a financial literacy coach, and she was in charge. But what she did was she took our youngest daughter, who was very good in math, and she showed her the spreadsheet of our finances. She taught her how to make entries in the checkbook. She showed her what money we went out, what money came in, the bills we paid, how we paid them on time, credit cards, how we got rid of them, my student debt, because she didn't have any student debt. But she showed her all of those things. So when it came time for me to actually take over the checkbook, which was very difficult, I actually had to turn to the 15-year-old who was a student at Suitland High School to tell me how to do this. And the reason we had to do it was because our family was going through a crisis. So when you walk through this park today and you think of the children who are going to go in here and to learn this, it is what the speakers have said. It's not just about learning it for school today, it is about learning it for life. That's why this is so important, and that's why we're so pleased to have it in the county. God bless you.
Love to see everyone. Look at us two pictures real quick, please. 1, 2. Yeah, Echo, you guys cutting it, please.
Hold those spots, guys. One more time, please, right here, please. 1, 2, and 3. Thank you.
Yeah, Echo, you cutting, please. Yeah.
Okay.
Got it. No.